5:34, I would like to call the regular meeting of the Oxford Preparatory Academy Board of Directors to order. Today, November 19th, open session scheduled to begin at 5:30, a closed session at 5:40, open session back at 7 p.m. The meeting location, thank you for not putting that in there, Amy. Appreciate you. This meeting will be by teleconference pursuant to Executive Order N2520 and N2920. The Board of Directors and employees of Oxford Preparatory Academy shall meet via Zoom, the Zoom meeting platform. No address necessary, Raymond. Members of the public who wish to attend this board meeting may do so at the link below. Phone 1-669-900-6833. The meeting ID number is 916-1450-4903. And the live stream can, of course, be accessed from the Oxford Preparatory Academy website at oxfordchampions.com. Members of the public who wish to comment during the board meeting should complete the request to address the Oxford Board of Directors form and submit it in order to address the Oxford Preparatory Academy Board of Directors. Requests must be submitted by 5:30 p.m. on 11/19/2020. You will be called on during the Zoom meeting to address the board either during public comments or prior to an agenda item. Please either log into the Zoom meeting at oxfordchampions.zoom.us /J/9161454040903 or call in at 1-669-900-6833. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. If an interpreter is needed for comments, they will be translated to English, and the time limit shall be 6 minutes. The Board of Directors may limit the total time for public comment to a reasonable time. Parent quotations around that. The board reserves the right to mute or remove a member of the public if comments or actions disrupt the board meeting. Access to board materials. A copy of the written materials, which will be submitted to the school board of directors, may be reviewed by any interested person on Oxford Preparatory Academy website along with this agenda following the posting of the agenda at least 72 hours in advance of this meeting. Disability access. Requests for disability-related modifications or accommodations to participate in this public meeting should be made 24 hours prior to the meeting by calling 949-600-9051 or emailing the marvelous Jill Marks at oxfordchampions.com. All efforts will be made for a reasonable accommodation. The agenda and public documents can be modified upon request as required by Section 202 of the Americans with Disability Act. That leads us to the agenda. Agenda item 1, call to order. The meeting is already called to order at 5:34. Roll call, Danelli Agarwal.
Present.
Director and magnificent Joseph Haney is in absentia. Delight Travis.
Present.
Present. And Raymond Jackson is happily present. That leads us to agenda item C, approval of the agenda for regular meeting of the Board of Oxford Preparatory Academy Board of Directors on November 19, 2020. It's recommended the Board of Directors approve the agenda for the regular meeting of the Oxford Preparatory Academy Board of Directors meeting on November 19, 2020 with the following modifications. Due to the need to add more flexibility around the potential school closure, we're going to table action item A, which is approved 2020-2021 food service management agreement between OPA and Revolution Foods. So we're going to, I don't see it labeled as, under consent items, perhaps. What are we modifying here, Jill? I'm trying to find this thing.
We're going to approve the agenda, but with a modification that we're going to table an action item.
It's action item A.
Action item A. Okay, great. So with the exception of tabling action item A, would anyone like to make a motion to approve the agenda for this regular meeting?
I make a motion to approve the agenda with that one modification.
Thank you, Ms. Delight. May I have a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Ms. Agarwal. And all in favor, say aye. Aye. with unanimous approval. We have approved the agenda with Director Haney in absentia. So that leads us to close session. Item to discuss public employee performance evaluation, subsection 54957, executive director, will be in closed session at 5:39. So we are reconvene. We're going to reconvene open session at 7:25 p.m. with no action to report. I do want to be sure that we thank Brandy Matthews and the SOC Honor Society. Thank you so much for a wonderful dinner. That was super sweet of you guys, totally unnecessary, but appreciated. They brought in dinner from, what is this place called? Chipotle, I'm sorry. Yay. Thank you for that. Okay, so flag salute. Let's get that going. Is somebody going to do that, Amy, or are we going to do that ourselves?
I think we are doing that tonight.
Okay,
So it's all you, Raymond.
sounds great. Let's do it. So place your right hand over your heart, or whatever manner is you're accustomed to flag salute. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America and
to
to the republic
from which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty, justice,
and justice for all.
Okay, public comments. Non-agenda items, the public, including public attending a teleconference location, are invited to address the board regarding items not listed on the agenda. No individual presentation shall be for more than 3 minutes, and the total time for this purpose shall not exceed 15 minutes. Ordinarily, board members will not respond to presentations, and no action can be taken. However, the board may give direction to staff following a presentation. Please turn in the request to address the OPA Board of Directors form and submit it in order to address the Oxford Preparatory Academy Board of Directors. Do we have any comment cards?
We have 2 comment cards for discussion item A.
Okay, so would we like to hear them now?
They should be before that item. So we have no regular public comments to non-agendized items.
Okay, so then we're going to bring up consent items. We have minutes from the regular meeting of Oxford Board of Directors on October 29th, and as well the minutes for the special meeting of Board of Directors November 5th. And the item C, OPA personnel report for November 19th, 2020. Do we want to do, yep, and item D, the stipend list. Okay, so anybody want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda consent items.
Okay. let me
I
have a-
second the motion.
Super. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous with Joseph in absentia. And that gets us to agenda item 7. Items scheduled for presentations. Presentations are limited to 10 minutes. Item A, award of Certificate of Achievement in English Language Development to OPA students reclassified from English learner to fluent English proficient during the 2019-2020 school year. Ms. Didion, ELD teacher?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yay.
So tonight we are, just want to say thank you to the board for letting us come and present these amazing students to our whole group of board members and administration and visitors, parents, students. So we have tonight with us, and many of our students are here with us right now, 8 students who have reclassified fluent English proficient. So before we go, I just want to mention their names because they've been waiting so patiently. They're so excited. And we've been emailing back and forth for the last 25 minutes. So I just want to recognize them really quickly, and then I'll explain a little bit about what this is. And then I want to show this little video, which is so adorable. So I'd like to recognize Ko. If Ko is here, can you raise your hand? Good job. Leah Torres, Aaron Yazril, Shreya Shine, Luca Baba, Vicky. I didn't write her last name. I know her last name. Sorry. I know these kids so well. And Johan. So I just want to say congratulations to all 8 of those amazing students, our OPA students. So Amy, let's see. Do you have the PowerPoint or am I showing it?
I made you a co-host, so you can show it if you want to, or I can.
Cool. I can. Hold on 1 minute here. Let me go. Okay. So these students are considered to be fluent English proficient. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about what that means. So all of our English learner students are given support in the classroom from their teachers. They are also supported by, of course, administration, myself, because I am the TOSA. So I kind of keep track of them. I do some teaching and I do conduct all of the testing. So there are 5 components to actually becoming reclassified English proficient, which means that they no longer really need as many services to up their level of English proficiency. So first, they pass the LPAC with a score of 4. Secondly, they are standards met on the CASP test, which is an annual state test. The LPAC and the CASP are both annual state tests. Parents are consulted and have to approve the reclassification. Teacher evaluation is considered, so that includes grades. And we discuss with the teachers, are those students actually English proficient? And then they also complete a writing assessment every year, which actually they just finished today, the rest of the staff, the kids. Anyway, so those are the 5 components to becoming reclassified English proficient. And this particular group of students, as you know, we didn't have any state testing in the spring. We had the weirdest spring ever. And so the state actually gave us permission to give the test from the spring in the fall to students that would perhaps qualify for reclassification. So this group of students did take a test in the spring with me called the interim assessment, which is it's sort of like a preparation for the CASP. And so the state said that we could use the scores from that assessment as the CASP score. So along with then if they pass the LPAC and the parent input teacher evaluation writing assessment, see, it's not easy, they can become fluent English proficient. And these 8 students did it. So I am so very proud of them and want to recognize them. Here are their names again. And I got a chance in the last week or so to interview them. And I actually, my son, bless his heart, put it together for me in a little video. So I want to show you this cute little video. Okay, here we go. Wait, why isn't it showing? Oh, hold on. Okay.
Put it on full screen. There you go.
Yep, there we go. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Hi, Shreya. Welcome, Ko. Congratulations on passing the LPAC. So proud of you. I know how hard you've been working. What do you think helped you pass the LPAC this year?
I studied over the summer, like maybe for 1 month or 2, and then the LPAC test came up. But what I did is not give up, but try my best. And when you try your best, you might succeed.
The reason I think I passed the test is because I tried really hard
and my parents helped me. And since I was in kindergarten, I tried my best and I wouldn't give up, and I kept going no matter what. My family's confidence, and I used all the links that my teacher, Mrs. Sidden, suggested for me, and I prayed a lot for me to pass the SCS. I think what helped me pass the LPAC this year was how much I concentrated and how much I was reading. I like to ask questions if I'm confused. I had like the confidence to learn like how to pass it, learning how to read, just wanting to pass it just made me inspire me just to keep on doing it even though I didn't do too well.
And my second question is, what advice would you give for other LPAC students?
What I would say is don't give up, try your best. If you feel like you're not gonna pass, then study hard. I would tell them never to give up no matter what, because we're all gonna make mistakes, and just keep going, just like I did. Read a lot of books, and after you read the books, write a summary on it and read out loud. Don't give up and do the best which you can do. Keep trying to aim for the highest grade possible. You will always pass at one point.
Is that adorable or what?
That is crazy adorable.
Yeah. So super proud of all of you, and thank you again for letting us show you how great they are.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Round of applause. That's
Dr. Amy,
fantastic.
can we do round? Yeah.
Yes, round of applause.
So great. Thank you so much.
Okay. So that's going to take us to, what about public comment? When do we have Paul and Amy? When do we have those guys?
Right before our discussion item A.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I closed my agenda. I got all excited about that. All that good test taking advice.
So
That's
up
good.
next, we have the school finance report.
Okay. School finance report. Are you ready?
I am. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you see?
Yep.
Okay, so today we're presenting the September financial update. And the one thing I wanted to first go over before we get into the financials is just a reminder on how the funding is working this year, since it's different than prior years. So essentially on the graph, the blue bars represent the amount of LCFF revenue, which is your main source of revenue. And this year, because of COVID and school closures and distance learning and things like that, what the state decided to do in the budget is that they would fund you off of last year's ADA, so your attendance from last year. However, you were budgeted to grow, and so there was an option to file a growth waiver, which OPA has done at this point. And so what this graph depicts is if you had been funded off of prior year ADA, you would be receiving just shy of about $12 million from LCFF sources. And then with the growth waiver, assuming everything comes in as we're projecting, you would actually end up just a little bit over 12 million, so at 12.1 million, which is an increase of about 352,000 in revenue from kind of the minimum that we would be eligible for. And so these numbers don't get certified until February, but at this point we've adjusted the forecast to anticipate that revenue for the additional students that you're serving this year. In terms of our actual financials, both schools were seeing an operating surplus. So just starting with SOC, at the last financial update, we were looking at about a $1 million operating surplus. We're now at about a $1.2 million surplus, the biggest driver being accounting for that additional enrollment of the additional students that you're actually serving compared to last year. And so that's 171,000 in revenue that's projected at this point. The school is also qualified for Title IV this year that we hadn't previously received. And so that's coming in at about $10,000. And then Pacific Life Foundation, there was a donation that came in close to $6,000 that we've accounted for at this point. The only negative offsets, a really small bar, but the negative $4,000 in compensation and benefits is just truing up some of the staffing costs related to, or just kind of some of the salary adjustments that have been reflected in the prior meetings. In terms of SV, we are also seeing an operating surplus from 647 to 882,000 in terms of our projected operating income. The biggest jump here again is the ADA. The difference here with SV is that the compensation and benefits, we're actually seeing savings there with the closure of some of the one of the aid positions that we had budgeted that we ultimately didn't end up filling. We also had approved textbooks that actually exceeded what we were forecasting. And if you remember from our last meeting when we reviewed the September check register, we had flagged some of those specific invoices, and those invoices were eligible to be funded through the CARES funding that the school is receiving this year and needs to be spent by December 30th. And so overall seeing an increase at SV for about $235,000 increased operating income compared to what we previously forecasted.
So have we already received that CARES funding?
We have received majority of the CARES funding and the remaining portion is on a reimbursement basis, and we have longer to spend those funds. So we have until 2022 to spend some of those funds. And so there's more flexibility with that, but majority of it, probably about 90% of it has already been received.
Thank you.
In terms of cash flow, we did end both in September, above $2 million cash in the bank for both sites. We're expecting it to stay relatively stable the rest of the year. However, we are anticipating deferrals starting in February with potential kind of decline as we're getting into June as the deferrals increase. This cash flow is similar to what you saw last time, except starting in March, we see a little uptick and it's a little bit higher than what we previously presented with the additional enrollment. We'll start seeing cash flows from the state increase starting in March for those students. But again, that's when deferrals are happening. So we're receiving a little bit more than we anticipated, but it's still not the full amount that we would receive if deferrals weren't happening. And then the last slide that we have for the board, this came up in the finance committee of wanting to make sure the board was aware of the credit card process and kind of the checks and balances that are in place at this school in terms of kind of what goes into each purchase and kind of how it ultimately shows up on the credit card, check and credit card register that you approve each month. And so essentially what this process outlines is the different checks and balances between the person that requests a purchase, the person that approves it, the documentation required, along with kind of the process of that we go through and the kind of the central office goes through in terms of reconciling all of the transactions with the actual payments made. So essentially just noting that there are several people involved in this process and there's different levels of approvals and different checks in place to ensure that you know, it's not the same person that requests and purchases and reconciles and makes the payment. So there's a distinction between that. And then this slide is just summarizing existing board policies that you have approved in the past, but we just wanted to highlight that process based on discussions in the finance committee. So that's all I have for today. We don't have a separate check register slide since we went over that at the last meeting. At the next board meeting, we'll have the October financials along with the October check and credit card register.
Got it. And what months, what check registers are going to be in that report?
That will be the October check and credit card registers.
Okay. Okay.
Because we're having our meetings a little bit early
Right.
because of the holidays, Thanksgiving and winter break. Our board meetings were moved up to just like the second week of the month. And so we won't have November finished by then because it's not enough time in between to get everything before December 10th. So that'll be October in December, and then November would be in January.
Okay. Can you be sure we include September in there as well, just so we've got something to look at across the board?
Mhm.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, Ms.
You're
Preet.
welcome.
All right. Chancellor's, that's item number C, moves us to Chancellor School Reports. Mrs. Alvarado.
I think it's going to be Mr. Bridges is going to do for both school sites.
Okay. Sounds good. Mr. Bridges, you're up, buddy.
All right. Good evening, everyone. This is the board update for SV and SOC. Tonight's board update is super short, and at the end, Mrs. Merlette is going to help out with the presentation. So let's get started. Since the last board meeting, both of our schools have had really big fundraising events. The SOC campus through the month of October had their triathlon, as you want to call it, they exercise, kindness, and reading. And then through that fundraiser, the school raised over $20,000, which was their goal. And because they surpassed their goal, Miss Alvarado and Miss Velez were dunked. And then you see some photos of the dunking taking place. And from past experience, that is very cold water. So kudos to the SOC students and Honor Society for doing such a great event, and for Miss Alvarado and Miss Velez for volunteering to be dunked. The month of November, the Saddleback Valley campus had our readathon. Usually this is about the time we have our jogathon. Obviously we can't jog. So this year, our Honor Society decided to host a readathon. Again, the goal was $20,000 through the month of November, or sorry, through the dates of November 2nd through the 12th. Students were given pledges on their minutes and pages read. As a school, we raised over $20,000, which is again fantastic. So thank you to Honor Society. Thank you to all the students and the families for pledging and to help raise money for our champions. And because of Miss Alvarado and Mrs. Velez dunking, Mrs. Merlette had the great idea that the administration at SV is going to get slimed. So we're not going to do the water because it's cold, but we are going to be slimed the first week of December. We're going to videotape it. We're going to put it on social media and send it out to the families. So thank you for everyone who participated in that. This month, we started, the administrators at both campuses started our professor evaluation formal observation process. In October, we held an orientation for all of our staff members that were going to be formally observed. The first week of November, we held pre-observation meetings where the teachers sit down with the administrators, look at the California teaching standards, set goals for themselves, discuss the upcoming observation. Just finished a majority of the observations in the past 2 weeks. And just on behalf of the administrators of both sides, we are continually amazed by what we're seeing in these virtual classrooms. The teachers and the students are just so well versed with technology now and learning through Zoom, and we truly believe we are putting a great product out there and providing a great education for our champions. This process, after the observation, we will have a post-observation meeting where we will discuss the lesson that we observed. We'll talk about strategies and goals for the next observation after winter break, kind of a coaching model throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, they'll receive a summative evaluation. And then I'm going to pass the microphone over to Mrs. Merlette to talk about the 6th grade virtual walkthrough.
Hi, good evening. This week, our 6th grade champions participated in a virtual walkthrough of the ancient world on Monday and Wednesday. This was a virtual field trip experience for our champions, where we had a virtual presenter who helped guide our students through the ancient worlds of Egypt, Greece, and Rome. And it was such a really cool experience, as you can see with some of the photos. The presenter is in the photos on the left-hand side. And they were able to participate in interactive games. The students were able to dress up if they wanted to as an assigned historical figure. And they also participated in a competition between the different civilizations. So in these sessions, the kids are really engaged, and it was a 2.5-hour walkthrough. And the teachers were really pleased with the entire experience. And in the month of December, our 4th grade and our 5th grade champions will also be participating in a similar virtual walkthrough experience through California Weekly. So the kids are really excited. Some additional upcoming events. We have our fall break next week, so there will be no school. And as I just had mentioned, in the beginning of December, on the 2nd and the 7th, our 5th graders will have a virtual walkthrough experience. On the 2nd of December, it's really exciting for our campus. We are having our renewal hearing at the OCDE. On the 3rd, Mr. Bridges and I will be getting slimed by our teachers. And then we are closing off our first trimester, and report cards will be distributed virtually on the 4th.
All right, that is all we have for tonight. I know many of you on the Zoom have experienced the walkthrough in person and have seen those walkthroughs. We felt that it was really important to still provide that opportunity for the kids, and we're so thankful that the program was able to offer this program virtually, and we're hoping as we continue, that they still offer both in-person and virtual programs, because it is a great program, as it is a great opportunity, and the kids really do enjoy it. So thank you very much, and everybody have a great night.
Okay. Well, I need to know more about how this whole sliming thing got approved, let alone suggested. Whose idea was that again?
Oh, Mrs. Merlette suggested and approved within a matter of 2 seconds.
Wow. Okay. So I'm looking forward to seeing that video at the next board meeting. That's going to be good. Great. So that leads us to our academic program update. Dr. Kernan.
All right. Let me.
Don't prospective new board members have to get slimed? I feel like that was a thing there somewhere.
It seems like that should be a thing.
I see what you did there.
I think that it's right after the longest standing board members get slimed.
Oh, okay. That was clever.
I know. My share is not working well. Can you guys see it? Or are you seeing my screen?
We see you. We see the beach.
Well, I would like to add, Mr. Bridges, while we're waiting, my daughter did the 6th grade ancient civilization this week, and it was really remarkable to see what they did. It really was. So congrats to you guys for making it successful virtually.
What was this thing I saw about they were having a competition between them as well, the civilizations, it seemed like. Oh, you're on mute, Mr. Bridges.
Oh man, I know. Each student received a role to play, and then within the walkthrough, they would team up and they would have competitions where they're answering questions about ancient civilizations and receive points and cheering. So it mirrored what we would normally see in a walkthrough in Honor Hall, but it was done virtually. And the gentleman that presented it was fantastic, and had the kids engaged, and it was a great and fun event for everybody.
That's awesome. Okay, Dr. Amy.
All right, so I'm going to give a little overview, starting with some instructional stuff, and then ending with some different updates on things that are going on. So we're very excited that we are going to be looking at new social studies curriculum. I know our teachers are super, super excited about it because we have had the same social studies curriculum since some of our students were born, or most of our students were born. So although, history for the most part doesn't change, they do want better curriculum that's more engaging, more interactive. So we're going to be looking at a bunch of different curriculum that has been approved and recommended by the State Board of Education. So we're going to be looking at McGraw-Hill, Cengage, Savas, TCI, HMH, and Studies Weekly on December 4th and 11th. So the publishers are going to come virtually and show the different curriculum to our teachers. And then we're going to pick a few of these to pilot throughout the spring. So the teachers will be able to try out this different, probably 2 different curricula, and see which one is going to best meet our needs and the needs of our students here at OPA. So we're excited to be doing that, and then we'll be selecting curriculum for adoption around May or June, the end of the year, to adopt it starting next year. So we did the same process with our math curriculum last year, and it really allowed the teachers to pick the program that's going to be best, again, for them and for our students. And we wound up with some really great math curriculums. So we're looking to go through the same process with social studies so that we have some really engaging and interactive resources for our students and our teachers next year. So that's one thing that we have coming up. Also, as Ms. Didion said earlier, our students are currently completing their first formal writing assessments of the year right now. So each trimester, all students will complete at least one formal writing prompt where they have to write a full essay based on their grade level. And then those prompts will be graded using formal rubrics. And this year, we're actually going to have our teachers grade each other's papers as well. So the students will get, so the papers will be graded by that student's teacher, but also by other students in their grade level. So we can calibrate our grading procedures and make sure that everybody is looking at writing in the same way and having those same high expectations of our students' writing. So we're going to be actually doing that in our PLCs tomorrow, where teachers will actually not just be looking at their own students' writing, but also other students in their grade level and providing that feedback for the students so that we can look at really improving our writing across all grade levels. That's one of our focus areas this year, is really looking at improving our students' ability in writing. So then kind of looking at where we are as far as a lot of different information has been coming out this week regarding COVID-19. So starting on Monday, the governor announced that now 41 different California counties are going to be in the purple tier, including Orange County. And that's out of 58 total counties in the state. Pretty much all major counties are now in the highest, most restrictive tier, the purple tier. And it accounts for about 94% of California's total population. So there's some new guidelines as far as changing tiers, whereas it used to be that each of the tiers, or where the counties were in the tiers, came out every Tuesday. Now it can happen multiple times throughout the week. Counties can move multiple tiers at once, so you could move from the orange all the way to the purple at one time. And you only have to meet the criteria for 1 week, whereas in the past it was 2 weeks. So it's become much faster and sort of easier for counties to move into those more restrictive tiers with the new guidelines. There's also a new face covering guidance that requires individuals to wear face coverings anytime that they're outside of their home. So that's some new things that just came out on Monday. And then if you were watching the news today, the governor just announced a quarantine for basically anyone leaving their house between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. Is only for essential business. So that was something that just came out earlier today. Oops, that should not say social studies curriculum. But since I'm not in there, I can just delete it. So now that we are in the purple tier, if we had not yet opened for in-person instruction, and any schools that haven't yet opened for in-person instruction now have to remain closed until we move out of the purple tier. However, since we've already opened, we can remain open unless 5% or more of our staff and students become positive cases, or the board or the county health department deem it necessary to close for any health and safety reasons. So what that means is that even though we're in the purple, we can still stay open for in-person instruction as it is right now. But this is pending any changes that the governor makes in his blueprint for a safer economy. So if he makes changes to that don't allow schools to remain open in the purple, then we would abide by any of those guidelines. But for right now, we are able to remain open. So just recently, over the last week or so, we have had a few positive staff cases at our SOC campus. Like most other schools or districts in Orange County, we have created a dashboard that we have located on our website on the COVID-19 resources and information page that anyone can go to, and you can see exactly how many confirmed cases for staff or students that we have at each one of our sites, and what that percentage is of positive cases. So again, if we were to hit 5% or more of positive cases at any given time, then that would mean that we would need to close the school down for in-person instruction. So right now at Saddleback Valley, we have no confirmed cases, so we're at 0%. At SOC, we have 3 confirmed cases, so that would put us at 0.7%. And we are really trying to make sure that all of our families are kept aware of anything that's happening at the school sites. And so when we do have a positive case, we do send letters home immediately as soon as we find out that day. To our families and staff members at that site or in that classroom, if it happens to be in a classroom, letting them know that there was a positive case. One good thing is that with all of the health and safety precautions that we have been taking and really strictly following all of the CDC guidance, our students for the most part and our staff for the most part don't have any or aren't really falling in that close contact range. So because everyone's staying 6 feet apart, our desks are 6 feet apart, our students and staff are wearing masks all the time, We have our pickup and drop off procedures that keep students from kind of clumping together or and assure that everybody's social distancing. We really do have very little community spread. And so for the most part, even though we have had a few positive cases, the school sites, we haven't seen any confirmed cases for students and very few confirmed cases for staff members. So, so we are really, even though, you know, we do have a few cases, we are happy that seeing that our safety measures are keeping our students and staff safe and keeping it from spreading. And so again, we will be continuing to monitor all of the data. We'll continue to improve our safety practices every time, you know, we keep learning every week how to make things even better, and we still continue to keep improving. But there are, you know, there are issues where we do have to quarantine anybody who does show any symptoms. So we have what's considered high-risk symptoms, coughing, loss of taste or smell. That requires us to quarantine people for 14 days. And then low-risk symptoms, someone has a fever or congestion, nausea, then we have to quarantine them for 3 days. So for our students, we're really excited that they can just flip to virtual immediately. So if they're out for a day, they don't have to miss any class. They stay with their same teacher. They just go from the hybrid model and flip to the virtual classes for that day. For our staff, we've also been able to still have the teachers, for the most part, whenever they're out, just Zoom into the class, so that the teacher is still providing all of that instruction. And then we put a substitute teacher in there, really just to monitor the students, do the safety checks and things like that. But the teachers usually are still able to provide that instruction. So it provides a lot of consistency, keeps students, you know, we all know, even with really great subs, they're not the same as the classroom teacher, and there's still that kind of loss in translating between the teacher and the sub. So we're excited to be able to keep that from happening and keep the teachers, for the most part, being able to teach the lessons, even if they are home quarantined for any type of symptoms or anything like that. So so the model is going well, but again, because we are being so strict about that quarantining for any types of symptoms for staff or students, it does create issues sometimes with finding coverage for classes. So we are really looking at making sure that we have enough subs, that we have other people on campus that are able to step in if we need to. But all across Orange County, there is a pretty big sub shortage right now. And so we're really looking at trying to make sure that we have that coverage for classes, and hoping that that doesn't impact our ability to provide that in-person instruction in any way as well. So again, anytime that parents have any questions, they can go to our website or they can email administration, and we're happy to answer any questions or provide any information. But I do, as we're kind of moving into the holiday season, I do really want to encourage really strict health and safety guidelines for all of our staff and families. So we really encourage anyone with symptoms to stay at home. And again, we have a lot of options for being able for students to flip back and forth pretty seamlessly to virtual. Staff also can teach virtually. If there, again, is a positive case on campus, we'll let families know. And if anyone is traveling out of the state or the country for the holidays, following the governor's guidance, we're strongly encouraging that anyone quarantine for 14 days when they return. We'll work with staff and also work with families to make sure that that is able to be done. But we really are encouraging people to follow that and to let us know so that we can work with you and make sure that we're keeping everyone on campus safe, especially after we know that people are planning on traveling over the holidays. So we just want to keep everybody vigilant. You know, sometimes it's easy to, after a little while, kind of slack off. So we're constantly promoting those proper health and safety procedures with all of our staff and students, just to make sure that everyone's staying safe. So any questions?
So with the determination of essential workers, is there any sort of documentation necessary? Is there anything like that?
So we do a whole, anytime we have anyone who is quarantining with symptoms or a positive case, we do a whole contact tracing. We're in contact with the Orange County Healthcare Agency as far as letting them know and filling out the report for them so that they can follow up with anyone. And as essential workers, anybody who is an essential worker can get a test for free. So we do encourage all of our employees who have symptoms to make sure that they get tested, even though they still have to remain quarantined for that amount of time, depending on their symptoms. Most of our employees are also getting tested as well, just so that we have that documented negative test result as well.
Got it. Okay. Any additional questions for Dr. Amy? Okay. Then school operations update, Dr. Barley.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to just do a quick verbal update tonight to put a fine point on some of the things that Dr. Kernan mentioned. The maintenance, custodial, purchasing, accounting, food service, HR staffs have been focusing on safety. That's really what everything has been about, whether it's purchasing additional PPE to make sure we have that, additional cleaning, sanitizing, just making sure all our staff, students, family, everybody has everything they need during these difficult times. And we'll continue to do that. We also have an external company that if we have a need for, they come in and do sanitizing to do even additional sanitizing than our custodial staff does daily. So just be aware of that. And I don't have anything else to add today. We'll make it a quick one today. Thank you.
Okay, great. So then we're up to item 8, item scheduled for discussion, OPA board member candidates.
So we do have our 2 comment cards here for this.
Okay.
So I will call up Paul.
Hi.
Hello, Paul. How do you feel about sliming?
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize I had to sign up for that, but I'm looking forward to it. I'll get my son to practice on me for a little bit.
And thank Mrs. Marlette and Mr. Bridges for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think should I do it? Sorry, Raymond, go ahead. Oh, sorry. I think I'm supposed to introduce myself and say why I want to become a board member. So nice to meet everyone. My name is Paul Kagoo. A little bit about myself. We live in Foothill Ranch. My wife, Terry, and my son is 8 years old. He's in 2nd grade. We're actually relatively new to OPA. Noel went to Foothill Ranch Elementary until March of this year. And we got the call that he got admitted to the SOC campus, which was like fantastic. And we joined, and he came to school for a week, and then we got sent home. So we've been experiencing OPA virtually since then, since March. Last year he was in Mrs. Smith's class. This year he's in Ms. Drucker's class. You know, a little bit of my background. I work in Irvine. I work for a company called Western Digital. I do corporate strategy for them. Before this, I was a consultant with McKinsey, and you know, I used to be a structural engineer before, so I used to design buildings before. So I had a few different careers. The reason why I want to become why I would love to be a part of the board would be, you know, my son's in 2nd grade. I would love for him to continue on through 8th grade. So certainly being able to, you know, support the school in any way possible, that's certainly very exciting. But also, I've heard about, you know, the things that the school is planning to do, or the aspiration that the school has I know the vision and the mission of the school is very exciting as well. So, very excited to potentially become a part of that and, help the school with its next horizon, whatever the next mission is. So that's it. Happy to answer any questions if people have.
And you said Western Digital, right? That little mom and pop kind of deal?
That's
Western
right.
Digital, yeah.
That's right.
Heard of them one time. So anybody, you got any questions, Ms. Delight?
Yes, I'm happy to ask a question. I think the biggest thing is that what are you looking to contribute most if you join the board?
So I think part of what I'm looking to contribute is sort of what is a gap, or what are the things that you need me to do. I mean, obviously there are things that I can bring to the board. I've been doing strategy for the past 10 years. I serve in the board of a nonprofit organization right now. I've been doing that for 4.5 years. And so certainly there are things that I can bring, but I want to first get a feel for what is it that's needed of me? Where can I contribute, right? So that's sort of what I'm looking for. I do understand that, the board and the school, administration, all of you have a vision of what's next for us. And I'm kind of excited to see if I can help with that.
Wonderful. And do you only have one child, or do you have other children that could possibly end up at OPA?
I do have just one child, but my niece, she's in the waiting list. She's number 2 in the open list. So fingers crossed that she'll get cleared eventually.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I think we all have when did you get the call story? Where were you? What were you doing? How long did you have to decide? So
yeah, I still remember my wife called me. I was in San Francisco airport grabbing a bite before I came back to Orange County, and she said, well, they called and I almost missed the call. And I was like, oh, so he's going to join a second grade? They're like, no, they want us to tell him in 3 days, and he has to join in 1 week after that. We're like, okay, that would be
no pressure. No pressure. Well, thank you so much, Paul. Danelli and I have had the pleasure of spending some time with Paul and Amy already as a part of the nominating committee. So we've had a couple of great sessions with both of you. So so this is Delight's first opportunity to meet you. So thanks for indulging her.
Thank you.
And she's got some zingers too, so be ready. So Amy, are you you're up next? You're in the hot seat. You're ready to get slimed on December 3rd or so? Or maybe this is just the warm up. I feel like this is the warm up, the sliming warm up, and then the board members are gonna get it later.
Yeah, I'm 100% in.
All right.
Maybe I could request mud instead, so I can get a facial simultaneously to
the scrub.
Yeah. No, it sounds like a good time. So, well, thank you for inviting me and considering me as a candidate. I am a resident of Mission Viejo and live here with my husband and 2-year-old son. And so a little bit about my professional life. I'm executive director of partnerships with Long Beach Unified School District, and I provide contracted services for different career pathway projects that the district hosts. And I've spent about a little over 10 years now working in the education sector, both in the K-12 setting the last 3 years, and then prior to that in higher education. So my work has primarily centered on K through 16 career pathways that really focuses on helping students through that process of becoming college and career ready. So I've worked on lots of different projects in student instruction and student supports. And some of my deep dives have been in early college programming, work-based learning, and contextualized learning. And then most of the work I've done has also been specially funded. So I've helped obtain and project managed over $20 million in federal and state and private grants. And then I'm really excited about the college going culture of OPA because my learning journey has has been nonstop, it feels like. I just completed my doctoral degree earlier this year in higher education, adult learning, and leadership. And so I guess to touch on my interest in serving on the board, I think there's really 3 reasons that encompass all the different benefits I see to it. But given my background and my interest in education, I really think that this would be an opportunity for me to apply my expertise in a way that can serve students in an impactful manner. I'm definitely interested in contributing to organizations like OPA that have student-centered missions and that are successful in their implementation of innovative and sustainable policies and practices. So I really think OPA seems to exemplify that. And then finally, my family is newer to living in this community. So I think this is a great opportunity for me to get more involved in the community and learn more directly about the local educational system.
Fantastic. And you said Long Beach Unified School District?
Correct.
So that's another little mom and pop company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only like 70,000 students or so.
Only, yeah, yeah. So, so you've seen a contract or two? I feel like that would be helpful. All right, Delight.
Great. Well, I have actually 2 different questions for you. The first is, obviously, it doesn't sound like you have a parent, or you're not a parent at OPA. So, what is inspiring you to get involved at OPA, knowing that you don't have children there?
Right. So, like I mentioned, I have a 2-year-old, and so I've started since moving to Mission Viejo, exploring the local educational system and the options. And OPA right away stood out to me as a potential really good fit for what I'm looking for my son. So while I might be a bit of an anomaly in that, yeah, I don't have a student ready to go there yet, or one that's been there, I do think still I'm highly invested in wanting to be a part of it, because I think it could be a great experience for him someday if he gets selected out of that crazy lottery, it sounds like.
And my other question is the same one I asked Paul. So what are you kind of looking to contribute to OPA in the future if you're selected as a board member?
Yeah, if I'm selected, I really hope that the different experiences I've had both in my professional life, being in the education sector, as well as my formal training through my degrees, that I can really bring a perspective that's maybe somewhat unique to the board, having been in the education sector, and that I think that my expertise in grant and fundraising in that way could possibly be useful for future resource development for the schools. And then I think I have a pretty deep network of professionals that I learn from all the time, and that I can also bring OPA to those networks and bring all the great promising and innovative practices I'm learning about through my professional experiences, and bring that to OPA and hopefully help the students.
All right, thank you.
Boom. Okay, cool. Anybody else have any questions for Amy? So does that mean you're Dr. Smith?
I am. I saw Dr. Amy's already taken, so I guess I can be Dr. Smith.
We could have 2 Dr. Amy's. I feel like my IQ goes up when I'm in meetings with doctors. Okay, cool. So that Paul, Amy, thank you both so much. Just for everybody else's benefit, this is we've been getting to know them over the past couple of weeks. Jill's done a great job of spreading the net out there and finding us some awesome board member candidates. So we greatly appreciate you coming and hanging out in our little community here. It's been really great to get to know you, and hope you've enjoyed your time with us so far tonight. And then we'll look forward to seeing and talking about you folks in the December meeting. Is that right, Jill?
That's right.
Okay, awesome. So thank you both. And that gets us to the next. So Jill, you have we're at board reports and comments, item number 9. So we want to start with Danelli, just because you are always so prepared.
I have no comments.
Oh,
I know, shocking.
oh my gosh.
I think it should be on the calendar somewhere that I don't have any comments, but.
Mhm. All right, Delight, no pressure, but pressure.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for being with us tonight, and to all the hard work that the school continues to do, and especially these turbulent times. So thank you all.
Well said. Well said. Crazy times indeed. The prospect of having new and awesome, fresh thinking board candidates is amazing. Our site staff is doing super fun things. I still can't get over this whole sliming thing, but man, you guys, thanks for being such a sport, Mr. Bridges, about that. And the turbulent times aren't over yet. So we're coming into the holiday season, but it still looks like new events are showing up every week, something new, some restrictions, so tip of the hat once again, Dr. Amy, you're doing a great job. Jill, David, all of our staff, I just when I think it can't get any more difficult, it's like, let's see if you can teach with no computers. Let's do that. Let's teach. It's just incredible to me that you guys are able to pull this off. So thank you so much for working so hard. It's just a real treat to be around folks who are so dedicated. Thanks for that. Okay, so Jill Marks.
Yes. Yes, I just wanted to, echo those sentiments. And we, again, I've been trying to point out the many ways that OPA is truly exceptional and how we demonstrate that. And, what I've heard tonight is the extent to which our students are adapting well to this ever-changing environment, and how OPA has provided the support and stability to students and their families in order to do that. And also, continuing to be exceptional in the way in which our community is so generous. And I think that contributes to OPA's exceptionalism, looking at support of the fundraising and exceeding our goals. In addition to that, even just the small gestures and the small ways, providing sandwiches to staff today. Thank you for the Chipotle dinner. So again, the generosity and again the way in which we just are able to provide the stability and adapt and keep our students learning and engaged, and again, ways in which we are exceptional. And that's a testament to everybody. So thank you again.
Okay. And to our awesome former ELs who are now English proficient. Good job. So that leads us to the last, because we're skipping, A got tabled, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So that leads us to item number 12, adjournment. So it's recommended that the board adjourn our regular meeting. Anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Anybody want a second?
I second that.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 I hear Joseph saying aye from far away.